Fingers crossed. I think I'm live, but I'm not sure. Because there's but there's an actual really new way that Zoom talks to Facebook now. So I'm not sure if there's a delay and we're talking, or, so please excuse me if you are, or if it actually just isn't working yet. I'm not sure. So I'm trying to see. It says it's preparing. I can see on my Facebook page. And if I am, I'll be so upset because now you're just looking at me talking. No. Now we're live on Facebook.
It says it's live up on the top.
There's it's live now. Oh, it didn't there for a minute. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Perfect Steak Marketing with Carmel and Sarah. As you know, the last couple of weeks, we've been coming to you with some tips and tricks and value and sharing screens and showing you some stuff all about video and all about your messaging, all about PDFs, how to make them, your lead magnet, how to connect them, everything. If you haven't seen some of those, so if a lead magnet and how to make it and connect it is your thing, or if you're not sure about using video, we've done all that in the last couple of weeks. This week, we're talking a little bit more about different stuff. So we're talking about, if you're anything like me, there are times where we've done a post to try and grab attention. Let's face it, we want people to hop on a call with us. We want them to take a PDF from us, or we want to get them on a webinar, or we want to do something. We want them to take some action with us. Now, quite often it's a freebie. It may be a low price or it may be a freebie. But sometimes, if you're acting like me as well, you've put those posts out, and the best way to describe it is friggin' crickets, like nothing. I've gone back and taken them down. I'm so embarrassed because people haven't actually responded. They haven't even said, oh yeah, I'll come. Nothing. Nobody has responded. They haven't liked it. I've put it into the group and I've had to go back and take it down because I was so embarrassed. So we've been working on this. As you know, myself and Sarah work quite closely together, and we found some little bit of hacks and tips and tricks, if you like, into how to get people to take action. Because all too often we're putting it out and going, oh my God, I'd love to see that. If I saw that, I'd take action. Well, you're consuming your own bloody message, is the truth of that. So we really need to work out how it is that we can actually attract those people in so that they will take action. Now, whether that's to go on your list or whatever, that's a whole other story where we talk about your ideal client. But this thing will help you get more people to interact with your posts and get them to take action. Now, I'm very lucky, because I actually have close contact with a very good copywriter who knows a lot of words and stories. So Frank Kern, if you haven't heard of Frank Kern, he's one of the top marketers. He says we're always doing something on social media. We're either talking or typing, basically, which is so true. Add to that video now as well. But even in a video, if you hop on and you talk gibbledy-gooch, what the bloody hell? So your words that you say are so vital for you to get that engagement. But I don't know about you. Sometimes you see these posts about this long and you're going, I can't be asked reading it, or you scan through it. But other posts I've put up this long, people have read every word of it. Well, why is that and what's the difference? So I'm going to hand over to Sarah to explain to you what that difference is and why we need to know that, because once you know this, then it can start changing the engagement and the action that you get your audience to take. Over to you, Sarah.
Cool. Thanks, Carmel. Yeah, it's so important, the words that we use in our marketing. And I love how Frank Kern says there's only two things you're ever doing in marketing. As you said, typing or talking.
Yeah.
And I think I'm the typer and you're the talker. So no, look, it comes down to your words, and in a marketing sense, that's what we call copywriting, right? So if you haven't heard of the term copywriting, that's all those words that you're using in your marketing. So it might be what you're speaking, might be what you're writing, might be what you're saying on camera, whatever that is. We tend to put it under the roof of copywriting because it's the words, right? So a lot of people ask me, what is copywriting? And it is a game changer when it comes to things like your promo posts, because you are writing your message. And how do we write your message in a way that actually inspires action? So if we think of the word copywriting, and we're talking copywriting with a W as in writing, not copywriting with R, as in legal stuff that I know nothing about. So if you think of copywriting word, it's essentially, you can split it up into two. So you've got copy and writing, la-di-da. So if we think of the one we all know is writing. So we've been writing probably since we were at preschool, primary school. Writing is creating text, right? So it's the things, anything that we can do with words to communicate messages, stories, and information to people. So writing kind of is like a tick anyway. We tend to know how to write. The difference when it comes to making that writing work in an online marketing sense is the copy side of it. So I tend to think of copy as a type of writing. And if you think of it as a skilled use of words that are used to influence and persuade someone to take an action. So it's very much crafting our normal writing in a way that actually makes sense to the reader in terms of an engaging story, resonating with them, but also makes sense to what's going on up in here in their brain. And if you've ever been on any sort of webinar or anything with Carmel and I, we always talk about the primal brain. So the unconscious part of the brain, which actually makes that first initial decision. So whatever we're writing and saying in terms of our copy, it needs to be crafted to specifically talk to that part of the brain that's going to be making or having a big influence on their purchasing decisions or action decisions, right? So if we think of copy, copy really needs to communicate, number one, how you solve an urgent problem for the consumer, for the person reading it and engaging with it, or how what you do in your service and offer can satisfy a desire for the person reading and consuming your message. So how can we do that? We can look at our normal type of writing and then look at crafting it in a way that maybe heightens the emotional value of that. Maybe by bringing in an emotional story might be a way to do it. And it's a key part of copywriting is giving direction to desire. And you might not always hear that. We often hear you've got to stimulate desire in someone. So whatever you write, it's got to really like razz them up, and you've got to create the desire. When you actually look at some of the research in the brain neuroscience and understand what desire actually is, all human beings actually already have desires within them, right? So these core desires, they're part of us as animals. They're part of us as human beings going about in the world. So it's not about writing something to create desire for a product or service. It's actually writing to stimulate desire. The desire already exists within them. And that's actually quite key, because it ties back into something that Kamal is always telling everyone and teaching, which is you've got to know who you're talking to. What is it? The right message to the right person at
the right time.
And the only way we can write a post that will actually get the right people taking action with us is to understand, well, what do they need to hear? What is the desire that's already inside of them, whether it's to solve a problem, like move away from a problem, or move towards a pleasure. So those two things can fall into this category of desire. So it's quite an interesting thought to think about writing as actually the language of desire. It might actually make it a little bit more exciting for those of you who are not always convinced that you can write. So let's think of copywriting then, of the words you use in a business sense, in a marketing sense, to ignite that desire in someone, the desire that already exists, and encourages them to take action with you, because and what you've said and how you've communicated is really influencing that decision-making part of their brain. So we can go down a big rabbit hole on this, and we're not going to go too far today, but I think it's really key to understand what this thing copywriting is, because it's often the part of marketing or the part of business that is overlooked. And
people don't understand it. They usually think it's the other copywriting when they hear the term.
Yeah, and then you're putting all this energy and effort into your organic marketing strategies or even your paid marketing strategies, and you're like, why is it not working? Like, all the gurus told me just run an ad or just do a hashtag freebie and someone will want it. And then it's like you put all that effort into creating these things, but it's falling flat. And it really does just then come down to, well, what's the message? What are the words? So if you really think of it like that, copywriting is used across the board of marketing. So we've talked social media, but also your blogs, anywhere on your website. We've talked videos last week, and we even went over a script for copy. So it's turning up in there. If you think of any of your lead magnets, even writing that PDF, that's actually full of copy. So there's just so many opportunities where we're constantly influencing and igniting this desire in people. So that's how I explain copy. A little bit long-winded, but I do get quite passionate about this topic. I think, yeah, it's something that takes time to craft. And I think people are always wanting to get things out there, and that's fine. But if you just take a second sometimes to just really think of like, am I writing what I want to write, or am I writing what they want to hear? And there's a really profound difference between those two things. And sometimes our default is just to write what we think we want to write, and that's fine. The crafting comes in afterwards. We've got to come back and edit that with fresh eyes of, if I was my ideal customer or client reading this, do I get it? Is it for me? Or is it just another person out there announcing what they sell? And then you've got to weigh out which one is the most influential and persuasive.
And that's why I often say I brain dump what's in my head,
yes.
and then come back with the structure that I know you talk about a lot, the very simple 6-step structure that once you come back and overlay that, you go, and you can tweak and change what you already know, because we already know, even though we may not be really, really, really clear on our ideal client, we kind of have an idea of what we want to tell them. Because if I could just get them in, if you actually just brain dump that or record it on Otter, put it into a paragraph or two, then come back, as Sarah says, with clear eyes, and put the structure over it, that's what made all the difference in the results I got with the boosting kind of posts that I did before.
Yeah, and we'll go over the 6-step structure, and I'm not sure if it's tomorrow or the day after. Got a little plan for this, because as you said, it's the difference that makes the difference. And sometimes when you can have a copywriting structure, and you might have already written something, and then you're like, okay, if I chop that up and actually put it in the structure, is there a piece missing? Have I missed the bit where I actually talk about maybe the benefit? Like, we want to just sell, but we're not actually just saying, how is this going to help someone in 3 simple bullet points? Like, and then it's, we hear about the what's in it for me. We forget to put that in, even though we can speak it and be like, oh, you've got to say what's in it for them. We go to write and it all goes out the window. So following a formula works, and it's very helpful to then just see, well, which bits are missing, or that sort of thing. But the one thing that I was going to just end on today is this idea of, whatever we're putting out in social media land, if we're doing the organic marketing strategy, which is, say, putting a freebie posts out in a group or on your own page, looking for someone to opt in for the lead magnet, which is what we covered a couple of weeks back. It's knowing what is it that you want them to do at the end of the post, and start from the bottom. Now, when we were taught writing at school, we always wrote from the top down. And somehow the stories just kind of like evolved. We knew we needed a beginning, middle, and end. Yeah. Well, we never really started at the end. It was always like, once upon a time, blah, 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 blah. So for direct response marketing, we need to be super clear on what is that last point of contact? Where are we sending them next? What is the call to action at the bottom of the post? So if we know it's click here to download the PDF, we craft everything above it to funnel into that point, to make it make sense within their brain that is the thing to do at the end, without any hesitation. So
it's another one of my favorite things to do, is to reverse engineer it.
Reverse engineer, start at the end, work backwards. We love that. We love reverse engineering. It works at so many scales across so many of the tools and strategies that we use in online marketing, and copywriting is one of those things that we will use it as well. So we always start at the end, and that ties into our sales funnel and everything. Where do we want them to go next? Right. Everything above that has to lead them to that decision.
And that's where you just said about, some of the connections and finding what's missing. That was one of the things that I realized was missing in mine, because my head went direct with, nicey, fluffy. This is how we can fix it. And I forgot the transition part, the part that kind of says that what's in it for me and how it can help. And it was like, I went, you know, oh, you need biscuits. Well, here's a tin of biscuits. Like, I didn't say, well, here, these ones are sweeter, these ones are chocolatey. I didn't give any of that. Yeah. I just said, you need biscuits. Here, there's the biscuits. What are you talking about? And I was missing that structure through it. But once I put that structure over it, now tomorrow we're going to be looking more at that call to action, exactly what you said. So the actual thing to transform your conversation is to understand that difference of what copywriting is and how those words are. So whether you use it in video or you're going to use it with an image and text, that's fine. Video, as we've discussed before, is quite strong, but you still need to know how to structure a message within that it makes sense and brings them into that little pointy end of the funnel to take action with you. Yeah. So we're going to cover some of those call to actions tomorrow.
And I think also, like, a lot of people might already be using a call to action.
Yeah.
Because we kind of know why we're putting it up. But then the next question is, well, I'm putting it up, why is no one opting in? And we're going to look at that tomorrow. And we'll look at the biggest mistake people are making with their promo posts as well. Even if they've got a call to action, even if they've, you know, tried a bit of crafting. We're going to talk about the biggest
we know this because we've done it. Let me tell you. As I said, crickets.
And we will be sharing an example this week as well of one of the posts that we've had some success with, and we'll talk about why it works as well.
So stick with us for this week. We needed to make sure that you had a bit of an understanding of what a copy was. So now we can bring you to the next steps over these coming days to make sure that you walk away with a clear understanding. The tools will be there. You can have the recording and look back over it and step by step it and slow us down or whatever. But we'll give you the actual structure to do it. Up to you then if you can do it. If you can't do it on your own, there's always extra support there as well. But for now and for today, it's bye from us.